When we think about board games, we imagine afternoons with friends, mugs of hot chocolate, laughter echoing in the firelight. But long before cozy evenings and Harry Potter marathons, people sought entertainment in games too. From the sands of Mesopotamia to the rolling hills of Greece, these games echoed across ancient civilizations. Some were played for pure enjoyment, while others served as fate-deciding tools or even as preparation for real-life battles. So join us today as we roll the dice and draw the pieces back into the game boards of yesterday. 5. The Royal Game of Ur. Let's start our journey in ancient Mesopotamia around 2600 BCE, where between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, a civilization was born that would shape the course of history, Sumer. It was here that the royal game of Ur was played. This game, depicted on thousands of tablets, seals, and pieces of jewelry, was not just popular among commoners, but was also loved by kings like Shulgi, Amorite, Rimush, and even the legendary King Gilgamesh. And unlike your typical game night, this one had a serious twist. You had to pay to play. The stakes were high, and so was the entry fee. If you wanted to challenge your opponent, you had to pay anywhere from 3/4 of a gur of barley to 7.5 gur of barley, depending on the rank of your opponent. And if you won, the loser paid up in full. But what did the royal game of Ur look like? It consisted of a board with 18 squares arranged in 3 rows of 6. 2 players competed using 15 playing pieces each, with one player using pieces of a goat's head and the other pieces representing a bull's head. Players took turns moving along the board, rolling 4 dice, possibly made from bone, and moved according to the numbers shown. Little is known about how exactly they won. Archaeologists speculate that the goal might have been to race your pieces around the board or to be the first to reach the end of any row. There's even a theory that the game had a significant influence on the famous game of chess. In the end, it seems that the royal game of Ur wasn't just about strategy and luck, it was a test of skill and nerve, where the winner took all, both the prize money and bragging rights. Number 4, Ptolemy. Now let's travel to ancient Mesoamerica. Here, amidst the Mayan and Aztec empires, there existed a unique game known as Ptolemy. While archaeologists have uncovered evidence of games similar to checkers and chess in several ancient cultures, Ptolemy stood out. Depicted in murals and sculptures, this game was a prominent part of life. The objective of Ptolemy was to be the first to move all your playing pieces home. Sounds simple, right? Well, the catch was that the path to victory was decided by a sacred calendar. Yes, you heard correctly. Before making any move, players had to consult the Tonalpohualli, the sacred calendar of the Nahuas, which predicted the outcome of their moves based on the day they played and the number rolled. For instance, if a player moved their piece into a dangerous zone on the day for its read, they would lose their turn. The game was more than just luck and strategy. It was a conversation with fate. Each game was unique, influenced by the day they chose to play. Imagine planning your entire day around the whims of an ancient calendar. It makes you wonder, did you ever check the stars before starting your big project? Now, sadly, much of the knowledge about the game comes from Spanish accounts, which describe Ptolemy as a gambling game played with dice. But its sacred nature and heavy symbolism hint at a deeper meaning. Many scholars believe Ptolemy was more than just a pastime. Its roots were linked to war, agriculture, religion, and divination. It was a microcosm of life itself, with risk, reward, and the will of the gods intertwined at every turn. Number 3, Senet. Now let's take a trip to ancient Egypt, the land of pharaohs, pyramids, and untold mysteries. Amidst the hustle and bustle of the Nile River Valley, there was a game that captivated the hearts and minds of Egyptians for over 3,000 years, Senet. Popular during the Old Kingdom period around 4,000 years ago, Senet was more than just a game. It was a symbolic representation of the journey through the underworld. The ancient Egyptians believed that when the soul of a deceased person entered the underworld, it had to go through 12 gates guarded by various deities. And guess what? Senet had 12 squares. Could this be a coincidence? Maybe not. Each square was like a small adventure, a little test for the soul. As the pieces moved across the board, they faced challenges and triumphs, much like the trials and tribulations of the afterlife. But wait, there's more. Unlike most games, you could cheat in Senet, but only if you were the king. Yes, you heard me right. The Egyptian pharaohs enjoyed a special privilege. They could move their pieces however they wanted, perhaps because they were considered the intermediaries between the gods and the people, or maybe because they just really wanted to win. The game also came with a warning. If anyone cheated, the gods would punish them in the afterlife. Now that's a scary thought, sneaking around the board under the watchful eyes of the gods. The game ended when a player's pieces crossed the finish line, signifying the successful navigation of the underworld and entry into the field of reeds, a paradise where the soul could rest in peace. So next time you're playing Senet, remember, don't cheat, unless you want to face the wrath of Anubis himself. 2. Knuckle bones. Let's now journey to ancient Greece and Rome. During the time when philosophers roamed the streets and gladiators fought in the Colosseum, there was a game that echoed through the markets and taverns, knuckle bones. All you needed for this game were some small stones or knuckle bones from animals. Back then, animal bones were pretty easy to find. And with a little bit of imagination, you had yourself a game. Now you might be thinking, oh, that's cute. Just a little game of chance. Well, hold on to your togas because knuckle bones were taken seriously. Young Roman boys took great pride in their knuckle bones, polishing and decorating them to make them as attractive as possible. And as for cheating, well, they took that to a whole new level. Roman youth were notorious for loading dice, marking balls, and basically doing anything to ensure victory. The games included tossing the bones onto flat surfaces and trying to get them to stand upright, or throwing them into the air and catching them in specific ways. Each toss required skill and a good understanding of probability. It was almost like a mix of poker and gymnastics, except with bones. And as the popularity of the game grew, so did the competition. Soon, betting became involved and knuckle bones went from a fun pastime to a serious business. People bet on the outcomes, adding another layer of excitement and also a lot more tension. Imagine sitting at a table with a bunch of hardcore bone enthusiasts, sweating as those little bones clatter onto the table. But knuckle bones weren't just a Roman thing. They were popular throughout ancient Greece, Asia Minor, and Egypt. Even the ancient Greeks had their own version called piedra, which means stone. They used knuckle bones to predict the future, make decisions, and settle arguments. Basically, if you had a problem, you threw the bones and let fate decide. Number 1, go. Let's wind up our journey in ancient China. Around 4,000 years ago, amid the rise of dynasties and the invention of paper, there was a game that emerged, Go. Considered one of the oldest board games in history, Go fascinated emperors, scholars, and warriors alike. Unlike many games of its time, Go wasn't about chance. It was purely a game of strategy. 2 players, black and white, took turns placing stones on a grid, aiming to surround more territory than their opponent. It was a mental duel, a battle of wits without any dice or cards. And as the game spread, so did its influence. Go became a metaphor for life. The smooth black and white stones gliding across the board symbolized harmony and balance, reflecting the Chinese philosophy of yin and yang. It was a game that taught patience, planning, and adaptability. Over the centuries, Go evolved into a cultural touchstone, inspiring art, poetry, and traditional clothing patterns. It even influenced the design of Chinese gardens with its emphasis on balance and simplicity. Now, you might be wondering, why am I telling you all this? Well, because Go is more than just a game. It's a testament to the human mind's strategic brilliance. It's a game that transcends time, place, and culture. Each of these games, from the royal game of to Go, offers a glimpse into the hearts and minds of our ancestors. They remind us that beyond the pharaohs and the pyramids, there were people just like us, seeking joy, competition, and a way to understand the world around them. So the next time you find yourself with some free time, break out a board game, gather your friends and family, and remember the echoes of the past. After all, we're all just playing a game in the grand scheme of things.